we run into it, we'll get hurt. It doesn't get hurt itself. Yeah, I like that. That way you can actually use the object to your advantage and try to avoid it. Yeah, that's working out really well. Hello there. So today we're going to work on our game again, Space Battle. We could at this point just leave it the way it is and play with a friend. We're going to add a little more strategy to it. We're going to include obstacles to get in the way, and then eventually we'll do some power-ups. But for today, what we're going to do is we're going to add objects that you can avoid or can hide behind or shoot behind, and try to get out of the way. So let's get started. So one of the first things I did is I went ahead and drew an asteroid. I'll eventually go into how I draw my sprites, but I drew it in another program and brought it in here. So we have just a generic asteroid. We're going to create an asteroid object. We actually already did, but we'll get rid of that one. So we're going to create an asteroid object. We're going to select the asteroid sprite that we have. And in our create event, we're going to have this have a parent. And then we're also going to create some initialized objects. So the damage one is the one where we have possible damage intensity, and we're also working with mass. So this object is going to have mass as well. Oops. So we're going to create, we're also going to say this one has a damage of 1, so if you actually run into it, it will cause damage. Mass, let's make it 25. We're also going to create a rotation. Actually, what we're going to do is very similar to what we had in our player ship. So we're going to set an angle. Can be look any direction, and we're going to create a move X and a move Y. We're going to take it from our player ship. Let's move X and move Y that we had here. And our new angle, we'll just take our image, our new angle is this image plus 90, and we're going to add the velocity like we had the other. And we're going to have a max speed. So we're going to go back to our asteroid and look at our object that we're doing. We're also going to create a rotate speed. And in our steps, we're just going to give it a little bit of a drift when it first is created. Or no drift at all, I guess. All right. And in our steps, we're going to go ahead and have it rotate. But unlike our other ship, we're going to have this. So this initial one is going to be the direction we're going. So we're just going to basically have a random direction, and that's the angle that we're going to move it in, a velocity, and have it going. And we're just going to start rotating our asteroid around, but depending on when we hit the asteroid will determine whether it's going to go anywhere. So we are going to always move it an x times our velocity. Actually, we're going, instead of changing that, we're going to, and having it two separate things, because we can't change our direction, we're going to create a change x and a change y. And I'll show you why. The reason why we're going to do this is because we could be traveling in a direction. So let's say to the upper right, And if we are being shot at from the bottom, we want to slightly change the direction, but we don't want it to change it. We want to influence the object that we're shooting at moves based on how it's getting hit and where it's getting hit. And I will need to change these to Y. So in the middle of the room, we are going to create. All right. So in our original room, we have it randomly create an object, but we want to also check. So we're going to put our asteroid. So we have our two players, player one and player two, randomly generated. We're going to then take and try to put this somewhere in the room, the asteroid. So we're going to create a variable placed equals false while not placed. So placed equals false. All right. All right. So we got a placed. All right. So if let me check collision. For our point distance, we want to say if our point distance, we're going to pick a spot on the screen. All right, from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen, left, right. We're actually going to bring this in, I think our 128. So we'll make sure these are not outside of the screen. And this will just keep us some point within a border of an edge of the screen. So we're going to pick our player 1x, and so if our distance is greater than, let's say, 80, a little distance between the object and our asteroid, the player and our asteroid. So make sure we're not hitting both of our players. So yeah, so when we start the game, we should now have an asteroid. Maybe. Try that again. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, well, that would be a problem. Silly me. So on our controller, all this is ever doing is creating all these things. So once we've created one, I need to say it's been placed. Otherwise, it's creating many, many, many. And they'll never get out. So yeah, there's the asteroid and it's spinning. But we want to make sure it comes back to the other side, similar to our player ship. So down at the bottom, we had that where if it goes across, logic for moving to the other side. We're going to do that with our asteroid. Actually, we're going to just create a script for that. Since it's identical code, anytime you find yourself doing code in more than one object that's identical, just throw it in the script. And that way you only have to manage it one place. Okay, sprite, script, move object, other side. And then the ship. All right, let's see if it'll go to the other side like we want it to. Yeah, there we go. It does have a pop-up. We probably want to allow it. If you don't want the pop-up, then you will want to allow it some space to move off the screen. So minus sprite, we'll do it this way. Sprite width, sprite height. In this case, we're probably all right because we have. Can we do a max? This way, if we have an odd shaped sprite, we can pick which side's the highest, and then so it's less than the offset, less than minus the offset, going further to the right. This just expands the view past this side of the screen, allowing an object to go off. And we did that max in order to allow for different shaped objects. So this one's going to spin a little. Let's see at what point is it going to go off. It's like my ship. Still, I mean, I can go off the side and hide, but oh, what I want to do is offset times divided by 2, right? We only want it, or times it by 1/2. Because we want to do it to where the object is half off the screen. There. Comes up. Still pops up a little bit. Yeah, so what we would want to do in this case is then... Oh, because the pop-up logic minus... There we go. Now we should avoid the pop-up. So our ship comes across nicely. Make sure our asteroid doesn't pop up. It just comes across. Yeah, that's what we want. All right, now we need to collide with it and try to move it. Collision, bullet damage. What does our ship do? Nothing. Yeah, that's collision. The sparks. All right, if we collide, we're gonna, in our player's ship, actually what we're gonna do, in our asteroid is going to affect other objects. So collision from our asteroid to a player ship will be similar to a bullet hitting a ship. All right, we're not... Asteroid doesn't care. All right, so what are we doing here? Oh, We don't want to destroy an object. We want to create a bunch of sparks. Actually, I might do it this way. Player ship hits an asteroid. That way we can have fewer of these selections. Because we're going to do that because if we actually get hit, we want to make sure. All right, if we're not colliding, we want to collide. But we can't destroy the asteroid because it's not going anywhere. And we're going to make it so the asteroid can be... No, we're not going to highlight it. We're just going to have it move, stay the way it is. So let's try this real quick, see what happens. Yeah, there we go. Player takes damage. And the player moves, but that ship does the... Oh, where'd it go? Come on. Yeah, so if I hit the object, it's not going anywhere yet, and I collide into it. One thing we want it to do, though, is if we hit it, we want it to start going in a different direction. So if let's see, asteroid hits if our bullet, nope. Yeah, if our asteroid hits a bullet, we want it very similar to what this happens. No collision. Make some sparks. The bullets get destroyed. And we're gonna do a script move. So we need to double check what that is. Yeah, that's what I don't want. So we're going to have something similar to this, I think. Before we had this change X, change Y. So we're going to duplicate our collide. And call it script collide change direction. So we're going to get the direction again. We're going to look at the other, which is the bullet. So how much it's going to move us in a distance. We don't want it to move very far. Okay, so we're going to alter our change X and our change Y. So what this is doing is we're taking the asteroid, taking the bullet, and a very close direction. So we're getting a direction. We're taking the mass, which is how far the other object can influence us. And then we're going to make sure we don't go too far one way or the other. And then we are going to determine how far that influence is. So this would be like so if I'm going this way, I'll be able to kind of steer. The idea is to be able to steer the asteroid. So because the bullet's hitting it, I'm going to have the sparks go and then change direction. So that is the thought. Oh, so we're moving. Whoa. uh, yeah, there we go. That's definitely moving it. Definitely a little faster than I want it to, though. Yeah, I like that, though. That's kind of entertaining. So I have some value that is way out of whack. What is the bullet mass? Well, let's double check that, make sure that's not the reason why we're having a problem. All right. Two. Oh, wait. All right. I guess we'll look at what is H. Oh, you know what it is. Or maybe not. I think this is being triggered too many times. So we're going to need to throttle that. Yeah, because at this point we're moving the object like 5, 6, 7, 8 pixels at a time. Let's try something like that. And sometimes you just gotta figure out what the numbers are for what you want to do. And we will probably want to clamp the change X and change Y. To a max speed. And I'm going to change this because I think that's also wrong. Let's try it. Yeah, see, that's what we wanted. It took us a while to get here, but we can actually influence the where we're going. The other thing we want to change is on the sparks, since we're doing the sparks. We want to change it to other, so where the bullet hits. Try that. See if I can. There, yeah. So now we have an object that'll go around and it can hit the other player. You can shoot at it and make it go the direction you want. It's going to still a little faster than I want, but try half that. All right, so it's already going that way. All right, here we go. Slow moving object. We want to influence its direction. Yeah, there we go. We're not destroying it. The collision is doing well on the side of it. We run into it, we'll get hurt. It doesn't get hurt itself. Yeah, I like that. That way you can actually use the object to your advantage and try to avoid it. Yeah, that's working out really well. All right, so that is influencing an object with fire, getting it to do what you want. There's some tweaks that always have to be done with the values, just in case you don't want them to get out of whack. Anyway, until next time, good luck coding.